Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian from Tribeca Trade Group, and it is Thursday, April 8th, and this is your end of day recap. So, theme of the day, well, reversal from yesterday's week close and some of the growth names. Complete reversal. Not exactly what I was expecting for the day, but I try to be open-minded every day. I was very surprised to see Nasdaq futures rally all overnight session overnight, and I just go back to it's kind of tough to predict these moves, from day to day. The market does what it wants to do. Sometimes we do see a strong close and we don't get any follow through the next day. Sometimes we see a weak close like we saw yesterday in a number of growth areas. We saw bonds really sell off into the close, and here I'm thinking that we're going to kind of see some downside, possibly, for today, and we really didn't get that. And like I said, Nasdaq futures were strong all overnight session, and they held up very well, and they continued to. Sorry, I'm just looking at some Disney headlines. Let's just hit the tape. They continue to not only hold up but do very well throughout the session. So sorry, I always get a little bit distracted when there's headlines. What are they saying? Disney has retooled queuing, food ordering. So I guess they're making some adjustments. It looks like to I guess how they're doing business at the theme parks. But yeah, why don't we go over those the performance in the indices first? Risk disclaimer: everything that we're going through is for information purposes only, not giving out any recommendations. And also, you got some AMD news hitting the tape too. Not giving out any recommendations. Sorry, I'm getting distracted again. Looks like I just saw AMD. Yeah, it says AMD and Xilinx holders approve AMD's acquisition. I think that's probably priced in. I thought that they were going to do that. I don't see anything moving there in AMD. So interesting. All right, so let me get back on track. And of course, if the video is a little blurry, just allow it to render a little bit longer. YouTube takes a long time to render the video to make it high def. You can find this screen print on Twitter as normal. So I mentioned I'd go over the performance of the indices. Yeah, S&P had a nice move right at the end of the day, but this really wasn't a major day for the S&P. We did close obviously on the highs, and the last 15-20 minutes were particularly strong, right? This is where we close, and futures are still going up a little bit here after hours. But really, where there was momentum in the market was in growth land today. So here's where Nasdaq finished up 1.2% for the day. Again, pretty much sideways, right? The majority of the move last night was made in the majority of the move was made in the overnight markets last night, and we just there wasn't much volatility through the day. It was just pretty constant, and then of course there was some buying into the close. Here's where it gets a little bit more interesting. IWM, which kind of gave me a little bit of a head fake for the day. I just saw this really getting weak till about a little bit after 10 o'clock, was down about a little over 0.5%, and then flipped and went positive and closed almost up 1%. So I've talked about this before, this IWM. If you're a really good scalper, these ranges that can occur in the small caps, again, you have to be really good at scalping, but the moves are pretty incredible for IWM. Kind of sometimes all over the place, sometimes a nice trending day. This was one of those all over the day places. And then finally TLT, which again, I'm really surprised because I'm thinking that the way that we closed yesterday, right, was particularly weak in bonds, which was here. Now, the one thing was, and I kind of realized this too as I was doing yesterday's video, is that we did find some, we didn't break support for the day, right? I talked about a couple things. I talked about the ARK ETFs as well, but TLT actually held the top of value, even though it was very weak into the close yesterday. And this is what you had today, just so move back. And if we look at this daily chart in TLT, here I'm thinking that, and again, I don't mind admitting that I'm wrong on some things. I'm not going to be right on everything. It's just it happens. But I'm thinking that rates go higher, right, and bonds go lower, and clearly that didn't happen. So it is a good thing for the market, and I am bullish. I position that way, and so I'm happy with that, even though I was thinking, that we might really see yields start to tick back up. I don't think I went over the charts in S&P, other than the 5 minute, but here's where we're trending, right? One of the things that I have on my charts is the 5 period moving average. You could see that price is really holding this 5 period moving average. So if you really rely on technical signals rather than emotion, to trade, I would say, for now, I like when price stays above this 5 period moving average. Right now, if you're positioned long and you're kind of staying that way to some extent, right, that when we do get a reversal bar, that's probably, maybe take some profits, or you're going to get caught that day that it does. But for now, this time I will not make a prediction. And we are trending, right? So again, what do we know with this chart is that the price is managing, since the end of last week, has managed to stay above this 5 period moving average. We talked a little bit about how we had a couple inside days, or a couple really small days in the middle of this week. I thought that was more or less digestion than anything else, right? And again, no break there. Let's go over to Nasdaq, because I didn't talk about that one, right? I talked about how that there was 2 version point of controls taken out. There was one here, right, on the daily, and there was also one on the 1 hour. Let me zoom out a little bit. That was here. So we did digest this, and this is a pretty bullish result, right? We didn't give back. Sometimes when we take out a version point of control, sometimes we do see a reversion back. There was not a reversion back. Very slight, digestion back, and we're pushing back here to pushing almost to back to highs. So that happened pretty quick, didn't it? Right. So just like that, you got a full recovery. Yeah, I would say that this is pretty close to a full recovery. So we're going to be testing those highs. The one thing that still kind of concerns me a little bit, and we'll look at IWM here too. IWM still, some people have been looking at this saying maybe it's a head and shoulders. I don't know. People were saying that with the Qs too. Remember? Right, the Qs they were saying that, hey, left shoulder head, right shoulder, and a break of the neckline. Well, that was a false breakdown. And by the way, that VPOC was a nice signal. Hindsight being 2020, because I clearly was not. I was saying that either we could come back and we could retest, but we kind of got out of this and has made a really nice move higher here. So impressive, very, very impressive to see this come back as fast as it did. I'll tell you, once we got out of that damn March, right, things really kind of cleared up. So, remember this for next year, and I may begin to, I said this about a week ago, but I may decide to take like a nice vacation in March. Right? If it's just a very choppy time, weak seasonal time, maybe it's best to just take a lot of vacation in March, right? So it's an interesting concept. I have recently come across this before that, obviously a lot of people take vacations around Memorial Day and Labor Day and around, the last couple weeks of December. But why not do it like if you're a trader when there's weak seasonality, right? Take it off in March. Take off a couple other time, and a couple other time periods where, if you look at the Trader's Almanac, where the weak seasonality is, and might be a really good strategy going forward. I don't know if anybody has done that or has really, decided to take advantage of taking their vacation when there's really weak seasonality. I might be looking to do that next year or for the remainder of this year when we do get into another week. I think what September is kind of weak seasonally, so I don't know. Maybe I take some time off in September. All right, so I don't know. An interesting take there. What else did I want to talk about in this video? Of course, we'll talk about some of my trades. Apple got to my price target. My price target was 130. I took that trade off. So again, I'm using a lot of these version point of controls to take off some swing trades, but Apple's still going here. Maybe it does get to this 136. Now we kind of have to think about some names running into earnings, right? So I can't believe, but we've got earnings season, getting close, and maybe we start to see some names run into their earnings print. So Apple, I think all the FANG stocks today took a little bit of a breather. They've been so strong, and I would watch. We had a little bit of digestion with the FANG stocks. 2 days ago? Amazon took out this VPOC here, so I'll be interested to see what Amazon does with this version point of control being taken out. And we'll kind of go from there and just keep an eye on that. Google, went higher and then kind of backed off a little bit. But again, you're looking at Google getting pretty overbought at this point. I think the RSI is a what's the RSI here? 73. So maybe, we start to see some consolidation a little bit with Google, right? Maybe a happy little bull flag being put in here. And then Netflix too, which I think someone asked me about Netflix and what I thought. It's been trending quite nicely. Maybe this also, continues to run into earnings. If you're looking for, a pivot area, I think Netflix, if I had to guess, it's been trending, right? But I see 564 and a 573 to the upside. All right, so let's get into some other movers for today. Let me go back to my spreadsheet. You can see that the blockchain stocks were the hottest group today. They were up 3.5% today. The regional banks actually made some nice headway from where they started. They started down on the day, so they were up 1%. Intraday, they finished up 0.5%. The pot stocks did pretty well today. I continue to like with these blockchain stocks. We talked about this Mara pre-market, which didn't go too far. I think we took out a level to the up, almost took out this 52.25 VPOC, but there was some bullish positioning. We saw another call buy in the blockchain ETF BLOK. Right, and we've seen this a couple times, and a couple times that I've seen them buy calls in this ETF, it's worked. So I'm not saying that this time will work, but they were buying some calls. I think the May 65 calls is what I saw on the tape. You do have to get through some resistance, but you can kind of pick some names. Rather than own the whole ETF. This Silvergate, not exactly ready yet, but I would maybe set an alert at where it stalled last time, top of value 162. But again, I like this Mara. That's my favorite one in the group, and you can see that's one that is above value. All right, I mentioned the pot stocks. My favorite one to trade in this one, which I did not trade this name today. I looked at it, but I didn't take it. GRWG was up 12.8% today. Again, almost took out. Now this was a version point of control. Sorry. This was actually not a version point of control, but our new system is actually capturing some of those, especially if the value area does not overlap, right? If this value area does not overlap with this point of control, we're counting that as a version point of control. Something new feature that we brought out in the last MarketWebs release that we released that we provided to members for an for an upgrade charge. All right, so that's GRWG, so really strong. Also, just kind of bouncing around through some names. This FUTU provided a nice signal right at 150. I tweeted that out earlier, so this is now trending a bit. Again, you're going to hit some resistance up here, which is right around 163. but that's another $3 or $4 up, right? And of course, when you look at FIFUTU, you have to look at Tiger. This actually looks pretty good too, and we talked about this one in the trading room today. If we go to the 1 hour, again, also made a move outside of value, and you could look for 21 for an upside target, right? As long as it stays above that 1825. All right, so a couple China fintech names. And then just, a lot of, let's go back to the spreadsheet just for a second. But software had a big day, up almost 2% for the day. So that was strong. And again, also the internet names. This PINS has been pretty unbelievable. Just continues to trend. Took out another version point of control. Now I don't think we kind of mapped these things out in the trading room, but notice it took out the last one on the 1 hour chart. So, but very impressive, very, very impressive. Took a little while for this to get going, but so again, where was the signal in this, right? It got outside of value last week, and it's just basically been trending ever since. So pins, SE had some follow through today, up to 253. A little bit of a pullback there at the end of the day, but still strong. And then if you look at names like, one of my favorite names in the software space is HubSpot. Almost took out that. I think this gets up to 521, right? But has made a nice move out of this consolidation. Upwork is a name that I haven't even looked at in a while, and this one, if you're still looking for something like in growth in software, there was a lot of calls that went up in this. I do have to check open interest. Because it did have the calls that I saw go up did have open interest on them, but this got back above the 50-day moving average, right? And I like this name, right? I like Upwork, so you could target 53 for this one as long as it stays above the 50-day moving average and top of value. What about Square? Square had some really nice continuation, so. We talked about this one, stood out like a sore thumb yesterday. Really nice relative strength. Didn't really fade like a lot of the other growth names into the close yesterday. I think this one's headed at 262. I own this one in the TTG Trend Portfolio. PayPal is also what I own in the TTG Trend Portfolio, and I did put on a call spread in this one. I took my first target. Unfortunately, not moving quite as fast as Square, but that's okay. Did take a target in that one. A few other names too. Look at this move in Shop today. Shop also takes back the 50-day moving average, right? And a lot of consolidation, right, around the top of value, and moved out. Also, cyber names were strong, right? So again, a lot of growth, right? Okta, I think, was the best. Retook also the 200-day moving average. So if you kind of take a step back and you feel like, oh geez, Okta's up 7%, I missed it for the day, first day back above the 200-day moving average, right? And I don't think was really anything wrong with this company. It just, when it reported earnings, it really got hit hard, just because that whole group was getting hit hard. So they were on Kramer last night. There was some positive analyst notes out. Crowd has their investor event going on right now. I don't know if the stock's moving, but that had a nice move today too. You can see a little bit of a move. And then, the one that's been best to breed is the one that's breaking out to new highs, which is Fortinet. So very, very strong. All right, a couple other areas that I was gonna mention. I took a trade today in CPRI Capri. I like this move out of this consolidation. Again, I'm looking for a target up at 54, and then we'll go from there. This 4. I looked at this name about a week ago, and I didn't take it. I feel like I did a lot of looking at names, but look at the move in this thing, up 6%. This is Shift for Payments, right? I see these at a lot of restaurants in New York City now, right? Where you just instead of having the physical check, Well, I think they still give you the physical check, but they have like the little credit card terminal right at the table, right? So they slide that in and bring that up for you. Or sometimes they leave it at the table, but it's different, right? I haven't seen that in New York City ever. I know that's a big thing in Europe, but this is one of the companies that does that. So again, another one of those, uh, companies that will do well if everybody starts going out to restaurants and dining more and spending. So shift for payments out to new highs. What else? Apps was another one too, where I've talked about. This one just did not go once again, and I chuckle because I think I just had a little bit of bad luck today because this is another one that I've been watching, and I was like, okay, maybe this one finally gets above. And I took this trade right when it was at the top of value, but it stalled again. So we'll see. I did stay in this trade. I didn't take it off. But it stalled at the top of value. So the level to watch again is for a close above 88. Intraday, you could see a lot of these fake moves, but Apps Digital Turbine did not do it today. All right, so watch for that move, above 88. So again, some names, went ballistic today. Other names, they might just still be setting up for a move. For now, I'll think that Digital Turbine maybe still setting up here, but it did not break value. So again, what I'm looking for here is this to get out of this pattern of lower highs, right? Again, look at how well the value areas worked last month. Stall here, stall here, stall here, stall here, one more stall. So I'll like I said, I started a position. We'll see how it goes. I took off this position of Pubmatic. I didn't like the close. I did take two targets in it. It's a high momentum name. I think I got a target at 61 and 62. And then I took the trade off. Here's the trade blotter for the day. Here's what I did. Again, I got my target that I was looking for in Apple. I was going to try CLAX, and I chickened out with this one and took it off. And I actually think it worked pretty well. It just, but I took, here's my target in Pub. This was, 59, and then my second target in 61, and I took it back I took it off once it got back to my cost basis. TJ Maxx, this was a nice move. A lot of call positioning in this one. It did take out that VPOC there, so very nice. Did I take off the rest of this trade? No, I was looking for 69.20 for next target. I think there's one on the 1 hour too. Yeah, right at 69.25. So I did not get that second target. So I got the one target. So again, nice trade that I put on from last week. ENTG. Right, so then I started to look at the semis again because I like names that break out and then digest in an uptrend. So ENTG, I decided to take this one, but I was also looking at ASML, which had a nice day today. What did Lamb made a new high today? Right, so I always come back to names that are breaking out, and once they consolidate, I do look to get back involved in them. MasterCard, right? This was a name this was our chart of the day. I think at the beginning of the week, did nicely today, up 1.9%. So there is a virgin point of control up at 380. Right? Didn't get to that, even though I did not put on a huge position in MasterCard. I'll be looking to take some off at 381, and we'll go from there. All right, guys. So that's it. Again, one of the things that I said yesterday was one day does not make a trend. Ugly price action at the end of the day, and a complete reversal. One thing that I would say as well is that the way that this market, in some areas of the market have been moving, you can find these names intraday. I mean, I'm much more of a swing trader, but I do look to scalp some things, and right now this market is giving you opportunities for both. So if you're not full boat on risk, I don't blame you, but I wouldn't worry about it. I think that even if we come in a little bit, like we did the last couple days, right now the trends are pretty strong. So I think that's the best game plan. And if you look at what I did at the end of the day, I took off some trades. So a couple of people asked me, they said, what, why'd you take off this AMD? Well, just a matter of risk management. I want to make sure that I'm at the appropriate place. I took off another trade. I was in some steel. I've been in and out of a couple steel names. I'm still in Vale, which I did take another target in. And we'll see how this group goes, right? If you look at one of my favorite steel names is this Reliance Steel and Aluminum, right? I was actually toying around with putting on a position in this today, and again, I just wanted to be conservative in a strong tape for the day, right? And make sure that, in a day that we're rallying pretty hard, I wanted to be a net seller, which is what I did. But, again, part of this game is kind of just setting up and stalking, stalking some good opportunities. So this will be a name that I'm watching tomorrow, as well as some of the names that I've already mentioned. But yeah, you could see that. So again, this is why I said with this apps, I said I'm in it for a starter. We'll see how it contests with that top of value. So I'll look at it again tomorrow. If it really goes, then I'll add more to the position. All right, I think that's enough for today's video. 26 minutes long. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow. Finish strong. Tomorrow's Friday, so make sure that you try to finish strong for the week. This was a very nice week, and it's been great so far for the beginning of April. So don't forget to take some targets. Have a great night, everybody.